That's great. Yeah, I would do this again. I don't know if I film it again. Welcome to my kitchen at the Frog Pond Veg Patch, and today we are making strawberry hand pies. I'm making strawberry hand pies because Kelly has challenged me to make hand pies that actually taste good. Not only taste good, but have a nice flaky crust that doesn't fall apart and has a good looking and good tasting strawberry filling. I'm going to start with making the flaky pie crust. That's going to need to chill for a bit, and then I can turn my attention to the strawberries for the filling. So the recipe I'm using for the flaky pie crust is from New York Times Cooking. I can put a link to that below in the description. So I haven't tried this recipe before, so this one's new to me. It is an all butter pie dough, which I've made before, but this one has some baking powder and a little bit of cider vinegar, which I like the idea of. I'm hoping that will help make it extra flaky. So we're gonna need flour, granulated sugar, salt, baking powder, cider vinegar. I've got some ice water, and the butter is in the fridge because I'm gonna keep that as cold as possible. All right, so let's do some things. 320 of unbleached flour. I was looking at a couple recipes for all butter pie dough, and one of the reasons why I wanted to go try this one because it has less sugar than some of the other ones. Because I saw some that had like 2 tablespoons of sugar for about the same amount of flour, but this just has 1, so we'll go with that. A teaspoon of baking powder, teaspoon of salt. Got my ice water to keep everything cold. So I want half a cup of this and a tablespoon of the vinegar. So the next step is going to be, I'm going to cut up the butter, and that's going to go into the flour. So I'm going to get the flour into the food processor. Let me just... So I'm going to pulse that to get things incorporated. So I'm going to cut this up into pieces. I get the feeling that your cat is judging you. So I'm going to give this a few pulses to start to incorporate the flour and the butter together. That looks pretty good. I still want there to be some chunks of butter in this, and then other pieces to be a little bit smaller. So I don't want it like fully incorporated. It's one of these things I feel like doing it in the food processor could be wrong. It could be horrible. But doing it by hand can't ever be wrong because, you know, back in ye olden times when they made pastry dough, they didn't have food processors.
Mako.
Honey, what?
Is there a problem?
Let me finish the dough and then we'll get you some food. You could eat that food. Yeah, I like how that came together. All right, so I'm gonna put about half of this in here. So I'll put about half. I will say the smell of the vinegar when you're making pastry dough is one of the things that doesn't quite compute. This is my silicone mat for rolling out pastries. I like this too because it has measurements on it. I don't have to get out a ruler to do things because I don't have a ruler in the kitchen, even though I probably should. Let's put this on here. Right now I'm just looking to bring it together, just into kind of a tight mound. And then the instructions in this recipe, which I'm gonna follow, are to then take the heel of your hand and use that to kind of like smear the dough, kind of a little bit at a time, which I get it, because the idea is to get like sheets of butter. I grab my bench scraper, my handy bench scraper. It's a tool I don't use nearly as often as I should, but cut the dough in half. I'm gonna flatten this. Actually, you can see we've got some big hunks, some larger pieces of butter. So the butter's not uniform, which is what we want. All right, so we're gonna shape these into a disc, wrap them in plastic, and get them in the refrigerator. It needs to be refrigerated for at least an hour, or according to the recipe, we can leave it overnight. And that will be all we can do with these guys for now. All right, into the fridge. Yesterday, we made the pastry. That's in the fridge. So now I'm prepping the strawberries that are gonna go into the filling. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slice strawberries, put them in here, toss them with some sugar, some cornstarch. I'll have to get a little bit of lemon juice, and I'll set those on some heat. That'll be the plan.
Probably a touch of salt.
Yes, and a touch of salt.
How much sugar do you think you're putting in?
Tablespoon and a half of sugar. Oh. All right. This is, yeah, maybe, that's probably like a tablespoon. I'm just trying to think. Well, let me put maybe like a tablespoon and a half. Also, one thing I didn't do, which I will do, I'm gonna try one of the strawberries. I'm gonna see how sweet they are and see kind of how much sugar they might need. Another 2 teaspoons. Lemon juice. 1. A little bit of salt.
Just a touch.
So now I'm gonna get this on the stove. Okay, so for the rest of the strawberries, I'm going to toss them with some sugar and let them macerate. The sugar basically will draw out some of the liquid from the strawberries, and then hopefully that will mean that we won't have soggy pastry from the filling. And also they need a little bit of sugar. Put a little bit of lemon juice in as well. Scant teaspoon. Just a bit of sugar, but no cornstarch, I don't think. That work. So I'm just gonna stir the sugar in and we'll let that sit. All right, so I'm gonna need to roll out each of my pastry. Because I want these kind of thin. They're gonna get like, it's about like an eighth of an inch thick. I measured this is I've got a 4.5 inch ring. The recipe I'm using says cut them into 5 inch, but I don't have a 5 inch, so we'll go with this one. And I should get 4 of these out of each of the discs that I have. So I start in the middle and roll away from myself, and I rotate the dough as I do that. My least favorite thing in the world is when you get pie dough sticking to your surface. If I feel like it's starting to get a little bit stuck, that I can lift it up and I can throw a little flour underneath it. There's like big pieces of butter that you can still kind of see in it. So hopefully that will give us a flaky pastry. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut these out and put them on the tray. And then I'm gonna put them back in the refrigerator to firm up for a little bit. And then we'll fill them. Filling. I don't know what happened with the filling. Several things happened with the filling. One, I walked away from the filling cooking. Pause for, well, I'm also making pretzels. I made pretzel bites. The sauce kind of the filling started to catch on the bottom when I was cooking it. The other thing is it didn't quite thicken up as much. And then I put the fresh strawberries in too soon and also not on camera. That was a mistake. But we'll see. So these will go into the refrigerator for 5 or 10 minutes just to firm up a bit, and then we will fill them. Now it's time for the final assembly and baking. First, we've got the strawberry filling, and this is maybe a little looser, a little more liquidy than we intended. I'm gonna spoon it in, but I'm gonna use this sort of like slotted spoon type thing so that I can leave some of the liquid behind. Oh, by the way, I've got the oven preheated for 425. What I'm gonna do now is I've got an egg wash here with this. This is 2 eggs with a pinch of salt. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do egg wash around the outside. So that's good for that. Now we're gonna do the filling. So I'm gonna try to put the filling in kind of the top half of each one so that way I can fold them over. Which usually around strawberry season I do make like shortcakes or scones or something like that. I'm trying to do something a little bit different and experimental. And, you know, even if, I mean, first of all, it's strawberries and pastry, so it can't be too much of a disaster, kind of no matter what. But, you know,
you say hopefully.
I say hopefully. knock on wood. Even if it didn't work, I'd still probably try to do it again. Now I'm going to try to fold these up as best I can. Try to get some of this extra juice off of here. Normally when I would make something like this, I'm also thinking about air. And so I'm trying to, as I'm trying to pinch these down and close them off, like I want to kind of squeeze out some air. Egg wash over the whole thing. Oh well. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I am going to cut some slots in the top here as vent holes that will hopefully give steam a place to escape instead of out the seams. All right, now I'm going to top them with sugar because we think that would be nice. All right, I'm going to go in the oven. We'll see what happens in 20 minutes. What I can say is my pastry cookies are okay. Look, see, look, lamination. Look at that. That's nice. That's what you want in pastry dough. So I'll take that. Well, they're doing a thing. They did puff up, which is what we want. All right, so they're done, I hope. No, I'll grab one of these first. All right. It's crispy pastry, so that's good. It's definitely done. I wish I could get more strawberry in it. Maybe it needs to be like, I don't know, just more pieces of strawberry and almost as like little liquid as possible. And maybe I need a bigger cutter so I can make a bigger pastry. That might help. But the pastry's good. It's crispy. And I do like the sugar on it. makes it nice and crispy. It doesn't like, I know it's a little dark in places, but it doesn't like taste burned or anything. I would say that works. Yeah, it just needs more strawberry. I need to find a way to get more strawberry in there. I don't know if you can see, like it's nice and red, so it didn't turn like a gray kind of color. But there's just too much pastry to strawberry. But I would definitely do this again and take what I learned from this one. And yeah, so I think this is another good strawberry recipe. I can put the links to the recipes that I use down below. I hope to do some more cooking in the kitchen with seasonal ingredients, and you can follow along with me and we'll see what happens. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, give us a like, and just leaves me to say thank you for watching till the end of the video. We'll see you next time. I know, we'll take the leftover strawberry sauce, and if you put that over top of it, maybe that would, well, some ice cream, vanilla ice cream. Now